I want to ask you a question. What do you think has changed in society over the last few years? And what are we missing? Well, I'll tell you. We're missing the power to think and work things out for ourselves. Now, when I was a young'un, things were different. We had log tables to do calculations with. What we didn't have were these de-skilling devices, computers. They stop us from thinking. They stop us from working things out for ourselves. We've become a consumer-led society. We consume things that the people make without a thought or a question as to how we should use these devices. iPhones, things like that, thrust upon us, and we lap them up. Pretty, yes. Expensive, yes. iPhones, Facebook, Twitter, mobile phones. Where were all these when I was young? We managed to build them. You know why? Because we communicated. We used this and we used these face to face. So not only does technology de-skill us in the thinking sense of the word, it desocializes us. It has the opposite effect to what it at first appears not to have. People have forgotten how to think, and they've forgotten how to communicate. What an ideal system. And we have cameras spying on us, technology used against us for controlling us. In our own interests, of course. Young people minimum wage jobs, lack of opportunities. Old people, many of them, paid into the system all their lives, worked all their lives. The money they've paid in, spent, wasted, robbed. Who has to foot that bill? The people who work, the young people. Robbery, theft, going on right under our noses. You're probably watching this on a widescreen. Comforts. Little comforts to keep us from rebellion. In my day, the television was bad enough. Now we've got all these other devices to distract us. In the olden days, even before I was born, we had a system of an extended family. The family used to care for itself. The young, who were looked after by their parents, in turn looked after their parents when they became old. They paid in and they gave something back. Isn't that a lot fairer than the system we've got now? Where you pay in, you get old, and somebody else has to pay. Somebody who's not even related to you. We rely on the state. I've forgotten, someone once said there's no such thing as society. We rely on it for food, for shelter, for clothing, for everything. Welfare. Welfare pays for people to sit on the door, or disabled people, some of whom are not entirely disabled and could work. Instead, they're given a nice sum of money, more than you'll get on the dole anyway. And as part of the package, a free bus pass, free prescriptions, free housing benefit, free social workers, although that's not so common now since the cutbacks. And they have to worry about nothing except themselves. But there's a catch. Making somebody as comfortable as that, where they don't have to fight for anything, they don't have to fight for survival, they don't have to strive for anything, demotivates them, disincentivises them, and disempowers people who are already disempowered and disenfranchised. So it is doing them no favours, and it is doing the rest of society no favours either. Except, and this is the big one, the bosses, who benefit from a pool of unused labour to keep the wages down and keep everybody in line. These cities that we have built are cages. These cities that we have built are cages to trap us into our place of work, to which we have to commute through overcrowded, over-expensive public transport, for which we have to pay to subsidise the people who can travel free, because somebody's got to pay for it. In my day, if a bus was crowded, it was something remarkable. Now it seems that every bus is stuffed full. We build cities like funnels to pour people into, to go to work, who can't afford to live in those cities, therefore they have to travel by public transport or by car in some cases, clogging the roads. So the cities become like pyramids, inverted, top heavy, instead of an agricultural outlook where we farm ourselves, for ourselves, in the countryside. In other words, society, since I wouldn't like to use the word dawn, since the imposition of Thatcherism, greed, and no society, so to speak, only state, we've become disenfranchised, disempowered, and unable to think for ourselves, totally reliant upon the state for our very existence. It is not a state I want to be in. We need to bring back society and individualism, not mass conformism. We need people to ask why, the very question they do not want us to ask. And suddenly, the dawn of reasoning will awaken us into a new and bright future, when we cast aside those shackles that the state has bound us with in the name of security and comfort and financial reward. But we certainly pay a heavy price for it in our freedom and our individual thoughts. This society is not one I want to be part of. If you agree with this, wake up. Ask why these things are happening. In whose name are these crimes being perpetrated, and who benefits? And then join me in the golden